Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Earthtones Girl podcast. I am thrilled beyond words to be here with you today. I'm so excited, but let's do the admin stuff first. My name is Denise, and I'm coming to you today from my home in Yonkers, New York, where I live with my husband and our 2 children. And you can find me on the internet as Earthtones Girl. I am most active on Ravelry. I am most active on Instagram. I am on Ravelry, and I have decided to start a Ravelry group, which hopefully I can do this week. And I also have a blog, earthtonesgirl.com, and that is not really active right now, but there's a lot of old stuff on there, good stuff. So if you want to just kind of have a look there, that would be great. And I have decided to do the show notes in the bar right down below. I don't have the notes up from last week yet, but I'm hoping to get all of that done after Rhinebeck, including the notes for today's episode, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Before I say another word, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the incredible response. I was just so blown away by all of the love and support and encouragement and from all of you. I really don't have any words. I was just blown away. The fact that I actually have subscribers now, I thought there may be, 5 people, my mom, my sister, best friends, that would be watching, but there's a lot of you out there watching and have subscribed, and I am so grateful. Thank you also for hitting that little like button, and and for the comments. Oh my gosh, all of the comments that you left, I was so excited. I've read them all, and I am replying to each one. So I'm not finished with that yet, but I will definitely reply to each and every one of you. And again, the comments were just amazing. I'm blushing. You can't really see it, but I'm blushing. And it was just, I was blown away. I know I've said that already, but I really, really was so surprised. And again, a huge thank you to Andy from Andre Sue Knits and to Sue from Legacy Fiber Arts, who both posted pictures of my very first episode and really promoted it and helped me sort of, I feel like, put my feet on the map, so to speak. So it was just really, really great. And some of the comments, I actually got some suggestions in the comments, and I want to talk about those in a little bit too. They were very, very helpful. So yeah, that's that. I'm just so happy right now. But I also want to just fill you in a little bit on my week last week. I really wanted to record on Friday to get the episode up on Saturday. And going forward, I think that is going to be my plan. Although this week I will probably upload again on Monday, record on Monday and upload on Tuesday, because Rhinebeck is this weekend and I will be at Needles Up on Friday. So from the following episode, we'll be on track for Friday. But I did want to just fill you in a little on my week and why I didn't get as much knitting done as I would have liked. My husband is out of town. He's gone to Puerto Rico to help there with some damage assessment and everything. So I've been flying solo with the children. He left last Monday. We're hoping he's back at some point this week. We still are not quite sure when, because things are really unpleasant there now. So yeah, he's just trying to get on a flight back out. And I also had a little bit of a loss, not a little bit, but I had a loss in the family this week. And that also happened on Monday. So there was a lot of family things to take care of and a lot of funeral prepping and things like that. And it was a little bit of a challenging week on top of taking care of the children and everything, but it was done. It was all done. And I try very hard to greet things with as much grace as I possibly can, because getting upset just does not improve the situation at all. So, but it's all, that part of it is done. We had a really rough day on Saturday. We were all then together after everyone came here, and but we're all okay. So yeah, that was my week last week. So let's get to some suggestions and some knitting and have a good time. So I want to talk about some of the suggestions that I got. One was, oh, and I also realized that in my last episode, the camera was vibrating a little bit. It is resting very precariously on my bed right now. So, and I kept bumping the bed with my knees. So I will try very hard to not have little mini earthquakes during this episode. so, someone made a really good suggestion, and she said that she loved the episode. Thank you so very much. But she would have liked to have seen a little bit more of me talk about my yarn choices and what needles I'm using and why I chose the yarn and how I pick my patterns. And I am thrilled to do that. I'm happy to talk about that. I think I left a lot of that out last week because I was just nervous, which many of you said you didn't see. I don't know how you didn't see it. I was dropping yarn and picking things up and pausing, but okay, I'm glad you didn't see it. so, yeah, I'm happy to do that, but I felt like I was being a little bit chatty, and I didn't want to be too chatty the first episode. I also didn't really want it to be too long, again, because I am a little bit nervous and obviously new to all of this. But I am much more comfortable and happy to share all of that with you. And we're going to talk about that with my Rhinebeck sweater in just a bit. And another comment that I got that actually made me laugh was from a woman, I believe it was Oregon, but I'll put that down here just to, I don't remember where. But anyway, she said that she doesn't get to knit very much now that her child no longer naps during the day, and she was asking how I do it all. And it really made me pause and smile because that was my question when I first started watching podcasts. There were moms out there that are running a business and they're dyeing yarn and they're knitting all of these things and they've got 5 kids and they're homeschooling. And I'm saying to myself, really? And do you have a nanny, a chauffeur, a cook, a housekeeper? How are you, house elves? Like, how are you pulling all of this off? And I think it's a question of you really want to, if you want to do something, you find a way. And having a really, really supportive partner helps a lot. And just fitting knitting in. You fit things in where you can. I think if you're running a business, that may be a little bit different because you can really designate hours to your dyeing or whatever you're making, whatever your business is, whatever you're creating. In my case, being a stay-at-home mom, a lot of people see that as very like the ultimate thing to do when you get to stay home all day. And no, this is not easy, people. Not at all. I wouldn't trade it, but it is not an easy thing to do. But I make the time. I go to bed very late at night. I stay up and knit when the house is quiet. And that's when I'll do the more detailed things. You know, I'll look at my charts for a colorwork pattern or for a cable pattern, and I can just sit there and really zone out and get into what I'm doing. But I can't do that during the day. So I sleep is definitely a big sacrifice for me. And even now, right now, I am recording this while my son is in school, while my children are in school. I drop my son off a little bit later. He goes in at 9 o'clock, and I race home. I've got everything set up, and I am recording. And I won't have time to edit until later today. But you've just kind of have to make it happen. And I work on relatively simple things. My favorite thing to knit are socks. I can knit them anywhere, absolutely anywhere. I've even been known to knit at a stoplight at times, or if I'm stuck in traffic. It's really the only way. You have to just use pretty much every minute of the day to get your things done, if that's really what you want to do. And even last week, I was knitting on a sock in between phone calls, in between appointments, in between tears. And but you know, and that it helped so much. And again, it was, I need to knit, I need to create, I have to do these things, so I have to find a way to make it work and make the time. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's actually answering your question, but where there's a will, there is a way. And I hope that you figure out how to make things happen for yourself with your child. So I'm going to pause for one quick second, and then we're going to talk knitting. I'm back, and I'm sipping a little tea in my brand new, absolutely awesome Hufflepuff mug that my cousin brought back for me from England, and I absolutely love it. English breakfast as usual. And I absolutely love my tea. So let me rest this here. And just before, I know you're all like, where's the knitting? I'm going to get into that in 1 minute. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Earth Tones Girl and where that came from, and that will answer the question of my yarn choices and patterns, etc. When I worked at a yarn shop in Tarrytown, I was and that's Flying Fingers Yarn Shop. When I was there for quite a number of years, and anytime the new yarns came in, the first thing I went for were the neutral, natural colors for the browns, the tans, the creams, the grays. That's the first thing that I was drawn to. Anything more colorful than that, and I thought, oh, there's no, thank you. Even my sock yarn, they were very dark, rich colors, lots of browns, tans. I mean, I thought I was being colorful if I went with like a gold color. It's hilarious, and I'll show you some of those socks in another episode. But I always went for the neutrals. I always went for the earth tone colors, and it kind of became a running joke in the shop that, oh, Denise doesn't like color. She only likes earth tones. And when I was starting my blog, I was trying to come up with a name for it, and I'm bouncing this name and that name, and all of a sudden someone said, well, why not earth tones? And I thought, well, why not earth tones girl? Because I'm an earth tones girl. So there is the background on my name. And there's just something about those colors, especially when I'm knitting garments, more sweaters. Now, the new Denise, AC Denise, as I like to refer to myself after children. There's BC and there's AC, before children and after children. So AC Denise still absolutely loves the earthy colors for sweaters, for garments, things like that. But in terms of socks and accessories, then the more colorful the better. I love color now. But before, it was strictly the neutrals. And I actually remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, my boss Elise said to me, all of the baby gifts were soft tans and really beautiful neutral colors, and creams and whites, and I was in heaven. And my boss says to me, you do know that you're going to have a child that's going to grow up and dye their hair pink and wear the loudest colors known to man, lime greens, highlighter colors, and you're going to hate it. I'm not sure if that was a curse that she put on me or a warning, and sure enough, my daughter is a color fanatic. She loves color, absolutely loves it. And I now love it too. I mean, my least favorite color was pink, and look at pink, 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 pink. I just absolutely love color now. I love pink. I love it all. But I still love my earth tone colors for my sweaters, which leads me to my Rhinebeck sweater. Let's talk about that. I did hit a bit of a snag this week. Again, there just wasn't a lot of time to knit and to work on this. I was working on it very late at night. I got all the color work done. And then hit a snag because there was a short row section. I talked about this yesterday in my Insta story. There was a color work section, and my mind went, what? No idea what I was doing. I usually knit my sweaters. I've always knit my sweaters from the bottom up. At first, I did them in pieces, and seamed them and learned how to do that really well. And I was really proud of my seaming because I did a pretty good job. And I also learned early on at knitting camp and from Elizabeth Zimmerman's books to use a lot of I-cord on my seams because, as Elizabeth says, I-cord is sort of the duct tape of knitting. She couldn't be more accurate. But I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into Elizabeth Zimmerman's sweaters and design and all of that. But so I always knit my sweaters from the bottom up, and now I'm knitting from the top down. That's all new. I'm doing cables in my mind upside down, which again, okay. And I'm also now doing a color work chart, and that everything felt upside down and backwards to me, but it was working until I hit these short rows, and I just wasn't sure what it was going on. But thankfully, I went on Ravelry, and someone else, I will put her name here, she gave pretty detailed notes. She wrote up pretty detailed notes on her acorn sweater and absolutely positively saved me. So thank you so much to all of the people that put copious notes on Ravelry, because it really does help those of us that are going to look for tips and advice and how to get through the rough parts of a pattern. So all of that said, finally, let's see the sweater. And here it is. Oh, wait, I'm about to lose a ball. Let's tuck that there. Here it is, everyone. Okay, there is a sleeve, sleeve 1. Here is sleeve 2, and we have the body. Here, let's pull this down. Now, as you can see, I hope you can see this, and I'll insert a picture up here somewhere of this laid out, but as you can see, what the short rows have done is made the back of the sweater much longer. And it's, looking at this sweater again, it's very sort of poncho-ish. It's definitely a sweater. You know, there's sleeves, there's a body, there's distinct, it's a distinct pattern, but it definitely has a kind of poncho look to it. And I couldn't love it any more than I do right now. I mean, look at that. The color work is all done. You know what? I'm going to hide my face for a second, and that's okay. No, maybe I won't. Okay, I think I can do it. But look at that. Look at the color work. Isn't it just gorgeous? Oh, I'm so proud of how this looks and how it came out. And if anyone sees a mistake, please don't tell me, because I'm not ripping this out again. Just don't tell me. But I looked at it pretty closely. I think I'm okay. So yeah, so we've got the color work done, cables are done, color work is done. I have started now on the sleeves and the body. I am using Blackwater Abbey yarn. And to answer or to comply with this suggestion, I again chose this yarn because it is really, really natural. And I said that in my last episode. It has a good, it's very toothy. I don't know if you can refer to yarn that way, but the grip on it, I mean, if you pull your needle out by accident or drop a stitch, it's not going anywhere. It is not going to drop. The fibers are holding this thing together. And I have a feeling this is going to wear like armor. I'm so excited for this sweater. And I chose the Blackwater Abbey. I believe I saw it once at a Vogue Knitting Live a couple of years ago and fell madly in love with it. I bought a skein to make a hat, and then bought many skeins of this color, this is Jacob, the colorway Jacob. I bought, oh my gosh, I think about maybe 15 to 20 skeins of it to make a very long, elaborate cabled coat that just never happened. I think I got pregnant and just time just didn't allow, and I didn't want a project that huge, but I obviously saved the yarn, and it is now becoming this sweater, and I have enough of it. Even after this is complete, I will have enough of it to make something else, and I do have something in mind that's a little bit more cabled and involved. And cables are I love cables, a huge love of mine. I absolutely love cables, and I'll show you some sweaters. I'll put a picture in of some other cable sweaters that I've done in the past. But yeah, so here's my acorn sweater, y'all. I am so excited. It is huge. I'm gonna stand so you can kind of get a sense of, so here you go. So I'm here, here's my sleeve, here's the back, and here you go. It's going to be a big sweater, but I don't think it's going to be too large. I think it's just going to be roomy and comfortable, and I can really layer under it, which is going to be great. And hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody, that it's chilly up there on Friday and Saturday. I'm really hoping, because the forecast right now is saying 60s, 70s, and I'm going to die if I wear this thing. It's relatively light. It's not a heavy sweater in terms of weight, but this yarn it's dense and it's thick, and it's really going to be a warm sweater. I may not even need a coat wearing this thing further into the season. So let's pray for cool temperatures so we can all wear our sweaters. And now I'm also using, I'm gonna just rest this here for a second. I'm also using But while I talk, I'm going to fondle the yarn because it's just so yummy and squishy, and it smells amazing. Do you ever walk through the barns at Rhinebeck or just on a farm and that yummy, earthy smell of the sheep? This is what it smells like and what it feels like. I mean, my hands are sticky, guys. I mean, it's just fantastic. I almost don't want to block this sweater. I mean, I'll lightly block it to really set the colorwork stitches, but I'm not going to very heavily block it because I love the feel of it. I really do. I mean, eventually I'll wash it, but you know what I mean. I am using Addy Turbo rockets on this. These are 4.5 millimeter needles, so US 7. And again, I'm doing this on, here, I'm actually going to hold this upside down for a second so you can see I am using my 2 circs because that's how I knit anything in the round now. I know the suggestion in the pattern is to do magic loop, but that's just, we've talked about that. I won't talk about it again. So anyway, it's and the Addy rockets are really great. I learned how to knit on Addy Turbo needles. It was just the first needles that I purchased, and I've always knit on circular needles. I love them. It's easy. I've tried straight needles and I inevitably drop one. I don't know why. I just let go and it just hits the floor. So I am definitely a cert girl. I can just literally roll this up, tuck it in my bag, and I know nothing is going to slip off. These stitches are not going anywhere. Nothing is going to come off of this. So that's my needle choice. That's my yarn choice. And I don't think, I will not say never, but I don't think you'll ever see me wear a sweater that's a color. Excuse me. I don't think you'll ever see me wear a sweater that is, you know, purple or blue or pink or green or anything like that. I just love my sweaters to be just really earthy colors. They just make me happy. They feel warm and snuggly to me. Yeah, so that's the earth tones girl in me. It's colors and sweaters is just not gonna happen. I'll wear the brightest socks possible with this, but I'm sticking with my earthy colors. I'm back. Here I am. So I also wanted to show you all my very first Rhinebeck sweater. And I literally finished seaming this sweater the morning we were leaving. I know that many of you out there can relate to that. Many of you are probably seam your sweaters on the car ride up to Rhinebeck. But I just wanted to show you this because it was really one of my first sweaters, and I just absolutely love it. I wear it still to this day. It really has to be about 30 degrees outside for me to wear this because it is so warm and snuggly. I will try to insert the name of the pattern and the yarn that I use because right now I don't remember. I can't even find notes on this sweater, but I will look it up and I will try my best to insert that here. But here it is. This is another sweater that I made. I do believe that this pattern came out of an old Vogue knitting magazine. It has pockets that fit beautifully right into the pattern here, so you almost don't see them. And I just love this sweater. It also has a hood right here. Here's the hood, and here's the back of the hood. Just look at that. And all this wonderful ribbing just kind of makes it really snuggly behind your neck. And we've got, I'll show you the sleeves also. Here are the sleeves. Just look at that, guys. This kind of thing makes my heart sing. Oh, it's just, if I had more time, and I think now that I'm working on the acorn sweater, you know what, I'm just gonna drape this around me for a second because it's just so lovely. I think now that I'm working on the acorn sweater, I haven't knit a sweater. The acorn sweater is the first sweater I've made adult sweater that I've made in over 10 years. I've been knitting, I kind of stopped knitting for a little while when I was pregnant with my daughter because I had horrible carpal tunnel and cubital tunnel syndrome. It was just really awful. The carpal tunnel hurts in here and the cubital tunnel hurts in here, right in here. I was a massage therapist in my past life, so I did know how to take care of myself. And the only thing I really could do was stop knitting. The horror. But anytime I tried to pick up the needles and knit, my fingers, these four fingers, would just go numb. I couldn't. I couldn't even hold a cup. It was just awful. So I stopped knitting for a little while. But aside from baby garments, I really haven't knit an adult sweater in years. And I mean, I love sweater knitting. I remember one year I made as many as 12 sweaters in a year. And that was BC, people, before children. Not going to happen again anytime soon. I'll be lucky if I get one more sweater knit before the end of the year that I'd love to wear to Vogue Knitting Live, which we'll talk about in a second. So yeah, and to, again, to further answer this or to comply with the suggestion, I choose patterns that are very rich, very detail oriented, that are going to challenge me, that are going to keep me interested. The more textured, like this sweater and several others that I've made, the more textured the sweater, the happier I am. The more charts the sweater has, the happier I am. I love charts. I absolutely love knitting with charts. So I tend to, I do like simple sweaters, and I have simple, very simple sweaters, but it's always very unique construction. It's different ways to knit them. I have a sweater that was knit. It's arm to arm. So you basically start at one cuff, work your way across the chest to your other cuff, and then you pick stitches up around the bust and work your way down, doing short rows and things like that. And it's just, again, one of my favorite sweaters. I did wear that to Rhinebeck one year as well, and I'll wear that on the podcast when it gets a little bit cooler. Sorry, what is it with the planes flying by when I'm recording? That is a helicopter? I'm not sure. Okay, it's almost gone. I'm really sorry. I hope you can all still hear me. So yeah, I tend to pick patterns that are very, for sweaters, that are very unique, very detail oriented, very textured, pretty complex, because that is what I love. It's what fascinates me. It's what stimulates me. It's what gets me excited. It's also what relaxes me. And I know some of you are hearing this and going, "What, a chart is relaxing? What, are you, insane?" But it really is. And I have little ways of keeping track of the different charts. I mean, I've worked with patterns that have as many as 4 charts going at once. So, there's different things happening at different levels. And I'll show you later what I do for that. I make little row counters out of embroidery floss, and I actually put a little bead on the bottom. I'll insert a picture of one here. I put a little bead on the bottom, and I will make loops in the embroidery floss, and I'll slide those onto my needle at the beginning of each section and chart on the sweater. So one chart might have 4 rows, another chart might have 10 rows, so there's that many corresponding loops. The bead represents the number or letter of the chart, and I just keep moving my needle as I go. So I know that I'm on row 4 of this chart, or row 10 of this chart, or row 3 of this chart, and you can just knit. You glance at the chart to figure out what your symbols are, what you're supposed to do, but you're almost guaranteed to not lose your place on the chart, and that has always worked for me. I've done that for sweaters, I've done that for socks, for anything that I've worked on that have had cables on charts, even whether it's a single chart or a multiple chart. So yeah, which is again why I chose the acorn sweater. It had a little bit of cabling, it had a little bit of color work, it had that plain knitting, so it satisfied all of my needs. And knitting things that are really complex like that also help me to relax. They can be frustrating if I hit a snag like I did on the acorn sweater with the short rows, but I put it down, the tried and true, just put it down, walk away from it, come back, have a look, and usually it'll all click. So yeah, that is pretty much how I pick my patterns. In terms of my socks, I tend to just knit my socks I like vanilla socks. The Knitting Expat, Mina Phillip did a whole series, the New York collection, and I think it was 7 patterns. and each pattern was a very simple, very, very simple textured pattern, and those were just amazing. And I got through two. I have a third pair on needles, but sometimes I just wanted to go, and I love those. I absolutely love those, and I highly recommend them. And I do want to do more texture in my socks because I absolutely love the result. It just, sometimes I'm knitting along and I want to go. It's like a cigarette for me. I don't smoke, but it is like, I mean, I have, but when I was a teenager, and it's okay. I don't. Anyway, everybody tried that stuff when they were young. But anyhow, I it's my cigarette. It's my cup of coffee. It is the stress releaser for me to just fly through a simple vanilla sock. All of that endless rows of knit stitches. Oh, I love them. I know people find stockinette terribly boring. I mean, like terribly boring. But I can't get enough. I just love it. That very rapid rhythm just, it just takes the edge off for me. It just soothes me. It calms me right down. So that's another reason why I tend to gravitate a little bit more toward just vanilla socks. And then I keep the yarn choices super duper fun and interesting between the stripy socks, which leads me to, I didn't get my afterthought heel done yet. I wanted to, but time just did not allow this week. So those will be hopefully in the next episode. And we'll talk about those later. But yes, I did do a lot of reading, and thank you all for cheering me on, so I'm a little less afraid. I'm going to try Kirby Werby's video to do that. I also have the Smooth Operator sock, so I think I should be okay to get that done. So yeah. So I wanted to have more finished objects for you this week. Right now, I do have some socks on needles, other whips, but I did show you those already. I don't want to bore you and show them to you again. And then I have my Rhinebeck sweater on needles. That's my other whip, my work in progress. And I only have one finished object to show you today. And she was on Instagram, and she's my buddy, Betty. Here she is. Look at that. Let me see if I can hold her so you can see. Here, I'll hold her here. Look at her little party dress, you guys. Who doesn't need a red dress in their wardrobe? I mean, come on. I don't have a red dress in my wardrobe, and I want one that looks exactly like this. And look at these shoes. Let me bring that in so you can see. Look at those little shoes and the picot edge on that dress. Oh, I just can't stand it. And there's the top, and I'll turn her around so you can see the back. Look at that. Look at all that beautiful little puff around there. And that's the back of the shoes. But there she is. I love Betty so much, and she's going to be coming with me to Rhinebeck to Needles Up on Friday. And for those of you, again, that haven't heard about Needles Up, it's Friday afternoon in Rhinebeck. I will put the name and the link right here. You go to needlesup.com for more information, and it's on Friday from 3 to 6. I was fortunate enough to get a little pass to get in early. I'm very excited. So I will be getting in around 2. And I promise I will be videotaping my butt off. There's going to be so much footage in episode 3 for you all to enjoy. I'm also going to be Insta-storying, so to try to keep all of you in the loop that won't be able to be there. Rhinebeck is really, it's going to be pretty amazing this year, and I'm really excited to get there, to get my sweater done. Even if I can't wear it because it's too warm, I will drape it over my shoulders just because I have to. So I'm pretty psyched. So yep, so here's Betty. Her dress is all done. I just love her. Again, like I said, I will take her with me, and I'm hoping that Betty's going to have a little accessory. I won't tell you what that is, but you'll see that on Friday as well when she travels with me up to Needles Up and to Rhinebeck. So the other really fun part about going up to Rhinebeck for me this year is I'm going with a Rhinebeck newbie. If you can believe that. She has never been to Rhinebeck. She's my dear friend Carolyn, She was Bloom Handmade Studio on Instagram, and she's amazing. She does these absolutely incredible crochet patterns, blanket patterns, knitted blanket patterns. She is such an amazing up and coming designer. I highly recommend you go and check out her stuff. And she's coming up with me for the first time this year, and I am so excited. Like I said, I'm going up on Friday alone. And I'm gonna do needles up and all of that, and then she and I are driving up together on Saturday morning. We are going to leave at about 6:30 in the morning. We're hoping to get up to Rhinebeck around 8. I would love to get to Mrs. Babb's booth, which is in one of the main buildings. When you first walk into Rhinebeck, it's off to the left. Believe me, I'm going to have all of this on the Insta story. I'm hoping to get Mrs. Babb's 2017 Rhinebeck colorway. Last year, the line was, I'll put a picture of the line here. The line was out the door and down the length of the barn and practically by the entrance. It was unbelievable. My sister and my cousin came with me, and they looked at me like I was insane. Like, you're really gonna stand on this line to pay for yarn? I said, yeah. So go away and leave me alone and let me be with my people and hang out and talk yarn and have fun. Go away. And they'd bring me tea every now and then, and then they pop an apple cider donut in my mouth for sustenance. And it was just absolutely wonderful. So I'm looking forward to doing that again this year. And I will actually be able to attend the podcaster meetup this year, not as a crazy obsessed fan, but as a podcaster. I'm so excited. I'm really, really excited to do that. To hang out with people and see some friends and really get to connect with some people that I've become very good friends with online, again, via Instagram. So I'll be able to see all of them in person. And I'm so, so excited. It's really going to be fun. It's going to be great. So I'm psyched to do that. And Carol and I have been talking about our Rhinebeck knitting. So what we're actually going to be knitting when we are there. And I've got 2 projects in mind. I don't think I'm going to get to the other one, but I might cast it on in the car, and maybe get the cuffs done. That's kind of what I'm hoping. And then I'm going to work on a sock, because what else? I'm going to work on a sock then while I'm kind of wandering around and shopping and online and just milling about. So I'd like to show you those. So my sock knitting is going to be this lovely skein by, bear with me a moment, this is Biscotti yarns, and this is their candy corn colorway. Oh my god, look at that, you guys. Let me see if I can, hold on, look at that. Oh my gosh, it's candy, oops, sorry, it's candy corn in yarn. So yes, it's candy corn yarn, you guys. I'm so excited to cast this on. There was a pattern that came with this. I'll put a picture here. But it's a little, I like it, and it came with the yarn, but I'm not wild about it. So again, just plain vanilla socks. I might do white contrasting cuffs, heels, and toes. And yeah, so this is going to be walk around Rhinebeck and knitting. That's what I'm going to do for here. And the other pattern that I'd love to be able to cast on and get started, and I'm going to work on this maybe in the car on the way up, are the pumpkin spice mittens by Skein Knits. And it's this amazing pattern. Look at that, you guys. Oh my gosh. It's pumpkin spice mittens. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to knit these. I wanted, wait, I think that's blowing out a little bit. Can you see it? Yeah. I'll add a link for this as well, or just the name of it again on the bottom there. I wanted to test knit for this, but she had all of her test knitters, but as soon as the pattern was published, I jumped on it. I can't wait to cast these on. Look at how gorgeous these are. And I went stash diving and found, hold on, got it here. I almost lost a ball. This. Oh my God. Could it be any more perfect? Could it be any more perfect? Let me put the pattern down. I know the yarn's blowing out a little bit, but oh wait, there you can see it. That's a little bit better. Oh, wait, no, let's come over this way. Yep, here it is. And this is Malabrigo sock in natural, and this gorgeous skein, the orange, is Classic Elite Yarns. Yuri is the yarn, and this is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon, and it feels amazing. It is so soft. Oh my gosh, both yarns are just gorgeous. I mean, look at that. I mean, hello, I'm in here. I'm so excited. Can't wait. These are going to be cast on in the car. Yay, car knitting. And I won't be greedy. I will not be selfish. Carolyn and I are going to trade off. She's going to, one of us is going to drive up and one of us is going to drive back. So I hope that you're okay with that, my friend. Yeah, we'll talk about it. So excuse me, so we both have an opportunity to knit. I think that's going to be really, really great. And I can't wait. I'm really, really excited. To close out this episode, I hope you all have enjoyed it. Again, please leave your comments, and down below, I'd love to hear from you. Please hit the like button and or the thumbs up. Please subscribe, and I hope that you've enjoyed spending some time with me today. One of the reasons I named this episode The Fork in the Road, and one of the reasons I did that is when you're driving up to Rhinebeck, you reach a point in the road where there is a fork. You can go left and continue on to Rhinebeck, or go right, and that takes you more into, I think, a more rural area of Rhinebeck. And we've made several mistakes going up there, and we always tend to take the wrong fork. But there is literally a fork, a giant silver fork in that intersection in the road, and it's just standing there, and I always get a picture of it every year, and it tickles me every year. And Carolyn and I are sure to stop there this year and take a picture. But I think it's also very representative of where I am in my life. I could have taken this path and just continued to knit on my own, and sort of stalk people, so to speak, on Instagram and like people's work and everything. And I am not a designer. I mean, I'd love to. One of the things on my bucket list is to design a sock pattern at some point, but I'm not jumping on that right now. But I could have just continued to be enjoy my knitting and follow people and have a good time that way, or I could have taken this path, which is the path that I did choose to share what I'm doing and my love and passion for making and creating and for knitting. I really don't know how I would function without it. I'm not trying to sound dramatic at all, but it's such a comfort. It's such an outlet for me. I'm so excited about it all the time. I think it drives my family a little bit nuts, although they're very sweet and loving and tolerant of me, but I never leave the house without it. I have been known to forget it at home, turn the car around, and it's on the kitchen table. I will grab it and run back out to the car, and my husband just stares at me like, it's a good thing I love you. It's usually what he says. And I get in the car and I kiss his cheek and I pull out my knitting and I'm as happy as a clam. So I think I have chosen the right part of the fork in the road to bring some of my love of knitting to you all. And again, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you all next week. We're going to have a big Rhinebeck recap and show you all the haul and all the yarn that was purchased and all the fun and everything. So I'm really excited to share that all with you in episode 3. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Check out my Insta story. I'm going to just be giving you progress reports on my sweater and leading up to the big weekend. Hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Bye.